Welcome to Talk Me Healthy. Each show, we invite a guest to explore a topic related to healthy living. They share their expertise and personal stories, and we learn from them how they turn their passion and knowledge into practical tips that you can use now to improve your health. I'm your host, Scherrie Keating, founder of Diabetes Care Consulting. My goal is that each show you will hear something that will motivate you to make a small but significant change towards living a healthier and happier life. Hello and welcome to Talk Me Healthy. My name is Scherrie Keating and I'm your host. Today's show we are going to be talking about Ageless Grace, a brain health fitness program. And I've invited Maria Skinner. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I want to tell you a little bit about Maria. She is the owner of Starfish Dance and Yoga in West Concord, B-Soul Dance practitioner, former NIA white belt trainer, and certified Ageless Grace trainer and educator. Well, that's quite the credentials. What does all of that mean?
Well, the link between them all is that I really love movement as a transformational practice. And so I've been dancing my whole life. And at some point, I realized that I was really happy when I was dancing. It was a real emotional link that I made. And so then I decided that I wanted to share that with other people. And the first thing that really came up for me was the NIA technique, which is a blend of martial arts, dance, and yoga. That's what I was training. I was training people to do that for a while. It's a dance of choosing joy and choosing to stay in the body. And so this whole exploration around embodiment, and also I love music, it's just what's kept me exploring all these different movement forms. And the beautiful thing about the NIA technique too, which is called fusion fitness, but it's a blend of martial arts, dance, and yoga. So it gives people access to more of themselves. You know, I can play with the fierce part of myself, or the very lighthearted part of myself, or the show off. Or in modern dance, we explore playing with the emotional body and the body. So there's the sadness and then happiness, and the body's expressing all that. So that led me to Ageless Grace, partly because Denise Medved, who created Ageless Grace, was also a NIA trainer. And she decided she wanted to create some kind of movement practice for people to change the face of aging in America. That's really the mission of Ageless Grace.
Okay.
And I totally resonated with that. I just feel like being in a body. They're saying lately that one of the reasons why the brain exists, the reason for the brain is to show us how to move in the world. So we've got all these ideas about, our brains, our minds, we write books and symphonies, and really for the animal body, the brain is here to help us move. So it works together. The more we move, the healthier our brain is. And the healthier our brain is, the more we can move.
So it's about brain fitness for any age.
It's for any age. It was specifically developed for an aging population.
Okay.
Because when you ask people now, what is your greatest concern getting older? It used to be heart disease and cancer, and now it's cognitive decline.
Right.
So Denise Medved, who created Ageless Grace, she had a mom who passed away with Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And her dad was this incredible bodybuilder, and he lived to be in his 90s and super strong, totally, there. And so there's different factors, there's genetic, there's health factors. I'm sure you know a lot from working with diabetes, that it's all about the choices that we make every day in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. But they have found, and the latest studies really do point to not just exercise, but exercise that activates the brain in specific ways can help keep us both physically younger and mentally younger.
So it's learning something new. What I always tell my patients, and when I speak, I always say we need every day to learn something new.
Something new.
Because it keeps our brain firing new neurons so that we
Absolutely.
have our brain and our memory and learning part of the brain actually can grow.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And in Ageless Grace, we say, so some of the tools that we'll play with, there's 21 tools of lifelong comfort and ease, because we want to address the body too. They are things that we might know how to do, but we do them in different ways, or that we've never done before. And it's all really using the imagination. We're sitting in a chair. So if I say we're going to go swim across Walden Pond, we're obviously not in there, but using the imagination and then using our bodies to do what we say we are doing, because the brain doesn't know the difference whether it's actually happening or not. So the neurons are still firing.
And that's really the key, right? So this whole the aging connection with Ageless Grace, it's really to keep the brain firing so that we can remember and learn lifelong.
Lifelong, yeah. And well, neuroplasticity, that's where this sort of
So
comes
explain
into
that
it.
term. That's a term that people use, but I'm not sure everyone understands.
Right. So you can look it up in the dictionary, and there's different definitions depending on what layer of scholar is looking at it. But from the Ageless Grace perspective, neuroplasticity really means the ability of the brain to change itself. Okay? And so we used to think, and this was in all the textbooks, that the brain doesn't change, we just go downhill,
Yeah.
right? And now that's totally debunked. We can continue creating new neural pathways until the day that we
I love all your little...
right, we're out of here. But nonetheless, the brain can keep learning and growing. And it's interesting because a lot of what happens is people stop moving as much, and then that slows down their brain, and then their brain slows down, so they're not moving as much. So there's this sort of cascade that happens that we term aging, but it's based on choices. And if you go to other cultures where people move for their whole lives, so for instance, one movement form that I think is wonderful is Tai Chi, especially for an older population, is, you see people in China that are doing Tai Chi until their 90s, they're 100-year-old people, they're all still getting together in wherever they practice together and moving. And so why would it happen there and not here? And a lot of what happens here is we start sitting in chairs, we don't move as much, and then the less we move, the less we want to move, and the less we have the impulse.
So it's really mind-body connection, and keeping our
Absolutely.
body moving keeps our mind growing.
Yes. And then specifically in Ageless Grace, we want to address the 5 functions of the brain that are necessary to keep everything moving and flowing. So we have an acronym, SMAC. So the first one is strategic planning. Strategic planning is how to get my body from one place to another.
Okay.
So if I was learning a dance step, that's why they say dancers, their brains are a lot more active and healthier than people who don't dance. They say dance is definitely something that we should be doing if we want to keep our brains nice and
how do you
fit.
train your body to be coordinated to dance? Because I am so uncoordinated.
Well, so here's strategic planning, right? How to get from. So if I said to you, all right, look, we're going to pick up our right leg, and you're going to do it with me. You're going to pick up your right leg, and then you're going to pick up your left leg, and then you're going to put down your right leg, and then you're going to put down your left leg.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. I mean, that, we can make it really complex, but we don't have to. So
and just
that right
doing
there was
this
strategic.
is going to fire neurons in my brain.
Well, you just
and
learned to
create
do
new
something
pathways?
you haven't done before, right? I mean, okay, so let's do it again.
Okay.
Pick up your right leg, pick up your left leg. Now wiggle your right foot, and then wiggle your left, and I hope not to kick you. And then let's take our feet and clap them together, and then let's put them down. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever done that before, and it almost doesn't matter, but the spirit of it is what's important. That's what we take in.
Huh.
That spirit of play. I mean, play is really the basis of Ageless Grace. Denise says, when we play, we are activating these neurons naturally. So strategic planning, that was the first one. Okay. I'm gonna stay focused.
Yes.
M is for memory and recall.
Okay.
And so memory, they're two different things in a way. We look at them as two different things. Memory is, okay, I remember what it was like to go down in that roller coaster. I remember that roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Recall is I've seen it, but I've never done it. So like, I actually have never gone on a roller coaster that does this, but I've seen it on TV, so I can recall it.
Okay.
So they're both using a different part of that function.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have analytical thinking, and analytical thinking is breaking things down in parts. So for instance, in this piece that we were doing before, problem solving, I could say, okay, now pick up the right foot and move your ankle, and now move your toes. So that's breaking things down into pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have creativity and imagination, which again are part of the same function, but they're two different things. So imagination is actually seeing images in our mind. Very, very powerful. And so, you have athletes imagining themselves winning the race, and they're feeding it into their bodies.
Kind of willing them to win that race.
Yes, but also imagining it. Like, if I'm imagining it, then my body's already there. Okay, but imagination we use in all kinds of ways in Ageless Grace. And then creativity is putting two things together that we haven't put together before. So imagination, imagine we're riding a bicycle.
Okay.
And we've got, imagine we're riding a bicycle and we're riding our bicycle in the water. So first we're just riding the bicycle, imagine, and then we're in the water. Oh, I never rode a bicycle in the water before. I wonder what that's going to feel like. And then, that's part of what creates the neuroplasticity, the wonder. I wonder how I'm going to do that. And then the last one is kinesthetic learning. And kinesthetic learning is what we do from the time we start learning how to come up from the floor. We learn with our bodies. So little kids, when they're learning how to walk, they're not reading a book. They're not really getting instructions. Somebody might be helping them, but nobody's saying, well, look, you get up and then you put one foot in front of the other. It's not cognitive, it's kinesthetic.
Right, so you hold their little hands and their little feet start to move.
Yeah. Or they do it on their own. Eventually we all get there. We all have that seed in us that we come up to standing. Some of it is what we see around us. So that's why it's so powerful what we surround ourselves with. That's how we learn. And that's why I think it's also one of the things that keeps people younger is traveling and seeing other places, opening the mind. Reading.
Because you can travel through reading.
Right. You can travel through reading. Although the movement part isn't there, which
That's
is great.
true.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't read.
That's true.
Though we have to include all 5.
Right. Okay. So Ageless Grace incorporates all of those 5.
Yes.
Into each movement or just into a class?
Into a class, ideally.
So tell me about the class.
Well, there's different ways to have a class.
Okay.
Usually when I teach a class, it's between 30 and 45 minutes.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I find that is usually by the end, my mind is a little bit like, whoa, that was a lot, which is very different than when I go running. It's not
brain work.
No, like, when you're doing something, or even, I'm not going to say that Ageless Grace is not mindful, because it is, but it's not quieting the mind.
Right, because you're firing these.
Stimulating.
Right, because that's what you want.
Yes.
That's the whole purpose.
Absolutely. We do it in a chair.
Okay.
And part of the reason why we're in a chair, there's a few reasons. One of them is that it right away triggers the imagination. Because if I said to you, we're playing baseball and we just hit a home run, but we still have to run the bases. Why should I? It's a home run, but still. And so then how do you run in a chair? So we have to figure out how to do whatever it is in a chair. That's right away activating the mind. Also being in a chair, because it's a lifelong body fitness class as well, it activates the core of the body. And so, for instance, there's one where, this is going to be fun. Okay, so just write your name with your belly button.
Oh my. Wow.
So let me see. You write your name.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I would do this. Boy,
Exactly,
this does. Wow.
And then you're using the core of your body, right?
I wish my parents gave me a shorter name.
Yeah, it's a little unfair. You guys can be like Anne and then like Jocelyn.
And then Scherrie that has all these letters.
Yeah, you do have a lot of letters.
I
in
do.
The CH.
Oh, but I see how I'm working all parts of my body.
Or if we were saying there's one called Rock and Rockettes where it's for the hip flexors, and maybe so if I'm here, I'm using a lot more of my core.
Yeah.
Actually, than if I'm standing up and doing the same thing. And one of the things that we lose when we're not moving so much is core strength. It also activates all the organ systems and the energy centers of the body when we're moving the core. So that's another reason. We're also in a chair partly to have an even playing field. So if I'm in a class where, say, there's 20 people, and 2 of them are in wheelchairs, 2 of them have issues with their feet, they can't stand too much, especially in retirement communities or
back
nursing homes, back problems. We're all in chairs.
Right,
It's not like, well, they're standing and I'm in a chair.
Right.
So it creates this like even playing field, like when we're in a playground together and we're all playing in the same way.
Yeah.
And that is the chair. The reason for the chair. So we use the chair even with the kids' classes.
Oh, so you teach this to children as well?
Yeah, it's Forever Fit Kids is one of the branches that we've been exploring, bringing into schools for movement breaks. Kids spend a lot of time sitting, a lot more time than I think we are naturally meant to. And then kids fidget and they want to move their bodies, and that's part of how they learn. And then suddenly they have to sit in a chair and they, can you imagine what it must
especially if they have ADHD and they have all this restless. I have a little grandson, and they in their classroom they have like these little rocker chairs, so that the kids are able to rock when they're feeling very fidgety.
Oh, that's great. And then rocking also calms the nervous system, so that's beautiful. That's great. So when I grew up, we did not sit as much as the kids sit now.
No, now today electronics has taken over their lives, and they're very sedentary, and that's why we have all these chronic diseases in younger children.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because of being so sedentary. So this is great.
So one of the things that they do is they bring this into the classroom, and some teachers mix it up with the curriculum. So for instance, if we're doing something like front row orchestra, and maybe they're talking about math, and they relate it to music. So it creates a nice little things that we can throw in to bring movement back in. Not that that's the real solution. I do feel that schools have a lot going on, and it would be great for kids to have more recess. A lot of the recess is being cut out.
Right, gym, those kind of things. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's why we're trying to bring some more of this into the classroom.
That's great. And so you have a studio, and you called it Starfish.
Yes.
So I'm very curious why you called your studio Starfish Dance and Yoga.
It may not be what you expect, but I'll tell you, it's there's a book called Starfish and the Spider. The Power of Leaderless Organizations. It's also available as a PDF, and I could send it to you if you want. And it's all about how there's different kinds of organizing structures. And so there's the spider structure, and the spider has a leader. And when you chop off the spider's head, the spider dies. But with Starfish, when you chop off if it loses an arm or something happens to it, it'll either grow another starfish or grow another arm. So I was involved in a lot of work in the past where the leadership to me felt like it was not allowing for enough creativity. And so I was training teachers and bringing teachers into the studio, and my spirit with them was always about bring your gifts and we'll share it with everybody. So rather than having a leader that is controlling everything, Starfish, the theme of it for me is more about creating organizations and relationships where we're all sharing all that we're learning with each other. And in a way, it's interesting because when you look at a starfish, it kind of looks like a neuron, it looks like that whole reaching out and connecting.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why. And also, if you look at my logo, it's a flying fish flying through the stars. So then we like gave it another sort of reinterpretation.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you had the studio, and how long have you been doing Ageless Grace?
Well, I've been in West Concord now for about 20 years, and I'm about to close my space and move my classes to the town next door. So I've been in the area for a long time, and I've been an Ageless Grace trainer for about 4 years, practicing for about 5 or 6.
What do you love most about it?
Oh, it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good. I love moving with people. I love connecting with other people. Sometimes I have to pinch myself where I feel like, wow, I get to play for a living, and I get to infuse the world with more play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really exciting to me.
Well, speaking of play, can we
play?
do some?
Yes, we can. All right. So
we need to get comfortable. Take off my jacket.
Yeah, why don't you do that? We're
All
going to
right.
get more comfortable. Because when we play, and so generally I like to say, when we play, it's also nice to take off our shoes, but we'll leave ours on today. So let's have a little bit more space between us. And let's get some music going, because music also activates the brain in a lot of different ways.
Okay.
So this first tool that we're going to play with is called Front Row Orchestra.
What are these tools? Why do you call them tools?
Well, Denise created these 21 tools. So here's what happened. She was at Duke University working with the nursing department there, and they were exploring different ways to stimulate the brain through movement. And so she came up, it took her, I think she said, like a year to come up with all the things she wanted to do, and then it took her 7 years to simplify it. So this is all very simple. Anybody can do this. You can get the cards, and one's called Dance Party. Then what do you do at the dance party? Front Row Orchestra. What do you do at Front Row Orchestra? Spelling bee, spelling with the body.
And
they're
so
really simple tools.
Okay.
There's 21 of them because she wanted to address all the different body functions that we need to keep vibrant.
And you do this within your 45-minute class?
Yes.
You go through all the tools?
Let me tell you one more, no, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe 7 or 8.
Okay.
The music is happening, yeah. So 7 or 8 during a class, and you and I are going to play with just 4 of them today.
Okay.
10 minutes a day is all that you need to keep the brain stimulated.
Wow, that's pretty easy.
Pretty easy. So Denise looked for the minimum. What's the least amount of time that'll still have that benefit?
Yeah.
And like I said before, I feel like what we're doing is not just, we'll play, we have fun. I almost feel like we're infusing ourselves with this spirit that we walk out into the world with, because then when you have the energy of play moving, you can play when you go out to the restaurant. You can maybe step in a different way. Wave funny, like not be so caught up in having to do things in just one way.
All right, well, I'm excited to learn.
All right.
And
So
start playing.
I'm going to start with, we're going to start with something called body math.
Okay.
Okay, body math. So body math is clapping and tapping. And so what we want to do here is hone our ability to respond, react, and recover. Okay? So fall prevention, but that's what's happening up here. So we're just going to start by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to clap on the 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're so good. Let's do it on the 3 and the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay,
oh
let's
my God.
leave it for 9. All right, look. Getting it wrong is better than getting it right.
Okay, all right.
So this is fun, right? Because it's
like I said, I have no coordination. That's why those line dances, I don't get on the dance floor at a wedding when they start doing all that. No coordination.
Well, so we would do this for 3 minutes.
Okay.
And change it all up. So sometimes we're tapping our head, sometimes we're tapping. And so it's all just getting the brain to do new things.
Okay. Well, my brain needs a
we have
tune-up.
to recover. So look, response when somebody falls.
Yeah.
A lot of times they say that when older people fall especially, it's not because they're not as stable in their bodies, it's because their brains didn't have time to react to what was happening.
Right.
So then this is kind of toning that.
Right. That's good. I'm going to have to practice that one at home.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I'm going to give you your own set of cards.
Oh, please. That would be great.
I have them in the car for you.
Awesome.
Okay, so this next one, we switch the music for this and do something gentle. It's called Gentle Geometry. And gentle geometry is one of those that, remember scratching your head and patting your belly?
Oh, yes.
It's specifically for neuroplasticity. It helps us create
those new neural pathways.
Neurons. Yeah, okay, so let's see how this one goes. Okay, so gentle geometry, we make circles, triangles, and lines. So let's start by taking the right foot and just making a little circle right here. Yeah, I'm going to move over for you. Making a circle. Okay, so take the opposite arm and make a triangle on the ceiling. Oh my God. So remember, you got a circle in the foot, and how's that triangle? Does it have angles?
Yeah, this takes practice.
Okay, now we have to go on the other side. Okay, so let's try the triangle first. Okay, so the goal of this one, gentle geometry, is not to get it right.
Okay, that's
good.
good.
To continue doing it. Because we'll never get it right. So how's your triangle up there?
It's good.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
For the circle?
Oops.
So here's the thing. We have to keep trying, even if you feel like it's not working. Okay, we're going to let that one go. Okay, let's do, it's just for fun. Let's do that again. Let's do a circle with the right elbow.
Okay.
Circle with the right elbow. And then this is going to be easy. Okay,
all right,
we're going to take the left arm and just make a vertical line. Not bad, right?
No, not bad. This is where my coordination issue arises.
So this is like, okay, so just for fun. See, it's not coordination. We're learning something new.
Right.
So just for fun, see if you can make a circle with your belly button.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so just let it. So you notice how much of your body you're using?
Yes.
Right?
And you're laughing and smiling and having fun.
And creating new neural pathways with gentle geometry.
That's awesome.
Okay, this is another one that's kind of similar but different. It's called Spelling Bee, where we're going to spell with our bodies. And this activates all 5 functions of the brain simultaneously.
Perfect.
Okay? So, I'm going to honor your skirt there.
Yes.
And not
I
do
didn't
too
dress
many crazy
appropriately
things.
for
Okay,
this.
so we'll just do upper body spelling
Okay.
today. So let's spell body. Let's spell body with our nose. So big block letters. Okay, now let's spell body really big with our hands. Like you're making big block letters. Body. And we're going to keep switching fast. Let's do it now with, imagine you've got a pencil coming out of your tailbone, and we're going to spell body on the floor. You got it?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
That's good. Okay. Let's spell body with our chins. So you see that as we're doing this, we're strategic planning. Now, we could switch it around and say, let's spell body backwards with our right elbow backwards. So,
Yeah, you have to.
yeah, see, so.
All right, good.
Okay,
I did that
so,
one.
Good. So then we'll let that one go, and then we'll talk about that in a moment. The last one that we're going to do is called Front Row Orchestra, and this is one where we play instruments. Multi-skilling. So the difference between multi-skilling and multitasking.
Oh.
Multi-skilling.
Okay. I can multitask.
Multitask is you're doing different things. The brain is being asked to keep track of different things.
Okay.
Doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-skilling, it's all going toward the same purpose. So if somebody is playing a violin, they're holding it down, right? And then they're also doing the frets over here, and then they're playing with the bow, and it's music, so they're keeping time. So that's multi-skilling, is bringing the body,
Focusing on one.
It's making music and staying with others, right? So that's what the musicians do. They say that some of the most developed brains that they found are in orchestra conductors. So let's begin so if we just start listening to the music, and this one has a very kind of hidden beat. Okay, and then what instrument do you want to play first, Scherrie?
Oh, let's see. How about the flute?
Okay. You gotta do what you do with your mouth too, right? Let's switch to the other side, because in Ageless Grace we always want to be ambidextrous. All right, what else can we play?
Trumpet.
Ah. Okay, let's switch the hands. Okay, I have a good one. Ready? We're going to play the harp. All right. Let's play one more.
Okay. The saxophone.
Ah, you got all the wind and
Yeah.
brass.
Oh, we could do drums.
All right. See, I don't even hear a drum. You have to hear the drum in your head for this song. So see, you can put on music in your house and pretend to play different instruments. And you can play instruments that you hear and ones that you don't.
I can see that you can actually get a workout too.
Oh, yeah.
So after 35 minutes, you could really get like an aerobic workout doing this.
Definitely. Well, cardiovascular health is part of lifelong fitness.
Absolutely.
So let me just end it with we'll end it with a little bit of
Do you do a cool down or in a warm up?
Yeah. Not generally a warm up so much, but I do a cool down at the end. I like to have people come down. So we're going to do one more.
Okay.
And this is just to kind of show you the cardio potential in it. So we're just going to do this kicking here. Kicking. Okay, I'm going to go this way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's reach up with the same leg, same arm. So this one, Rocking Rocketta, Rocking Rocky, is one that is really about the hip flexor, but also upper and lower body coordination is one of the secondary benefits. Okay, and then just like that, you're going to do opposite arm and opposite foot. Got it? Oh,
yeah.
You look great! You look great!
Yeah, okay.
All right, now we can let that go. I know, we're not quite dressed for it today, but... So it is cardiovascular. It's also got an interval component. I don't know if you've heard about, interval
training,
is like a whole thing. And so it's got an interval component.
So it slows down, speeds up, slows down, speeds up.
Yes. And then also it's got that flexibility where we only spend about 3 minutes on each tool.
Okay.
So we're asking the brain to do this and the body to do this, and then we're going over here and doing this, and then we're going over here and doing that. So the interval isn't only happening for the heart physically, but it's also for the brain. And then also it's got a really playful, emotional component to it. What I find at the end of classes is people feel more connected. They feel more, they feel like they've just had an experience together. And because we do, sometimes we build a birdhouse or we go surfing in Hawaii, all these things that we've done it in the imagination, but it has that sense of camaraderie and
it feels like a stress reducer too.
Oh, of course.
I mean, it's fine. You kind of forget about your what you're going through at that time, and you're just letting your body go and just in your mind go and just relaxing and having fun.
And it really trips people up, their stories. People have a lot of stories around their bodies as we all go through life and we have things going on.
Right.
But for instance, there's a story that my co-trainer Amy always tells about somebody who came to class and said, I can do everything you want, but I just can't move my neck. And so Amy said, okay, you don't have to move your neck. We never tell people what to do with their bodies. We sort of take the lead by saying, like, here we are, we're all going on an adventure. And so at one point she was doing the spelling, and she said, okay, everybody, spell your name with your nose. And she was totally moving her neck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't a physiological problem. It was more of a...
I don't know specifically, but what I do know is that a lot of times we have ideas in our minds about what our bodies can and can't do. But when we get out of the story and just play, then we could actually do a lot more than we thought. And so this is the brain creating new neural pathways in the moment.
So this is fascinating. I totally
really
would love to take a class.
Yeah.
And so I can just, so how do I learn, number one, more information about Ageless Grace? How do I take a class? And then how did you become a trainer?
Okay, well, first off, if you want to take some of the things that we did today and do them at home on your own, you could do it right away without taking a class. Okay, so because it's so self-evident and so simple.
Yeah.
You can spell words with your body, different body parts. You can play musical instruments. You can play with, playing with your body.
Where do you get the cards?
The cards, you can get them on the Ageless Grace website.
Okay.
So that's the other place to go. You go on the Ageless Grace website.
And that is what?
www.agelessgrace.com.
Okay, so viewers, we're going to have that on the show, so you can check out more information.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and on that page, when you go and you scroll down, you can find Denise Medved's TED Talk.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
On neuroplasticity?
Yeah.
I did actually watch that.
And it's really lovely.
It's awesome.
It's really great to get you into that space of understanding what it is. So that's one way. And on there, you could also find local educators, people in your area that are teaching Ageless Grace. Then I train people. Amy and I train people in the area, though you can find trainers all over the country and really all over the world now. There's a huge group of women in Australia. For some reason, Australian, they're like, we're so into it. And
it's fun.
It's totally fun. Yeah.
You just have to let your inhibitions go about your coordination, because I was really, oh my gosh, right, left, right. It was kind of blocking me from enjoying it as much because I was worried about my coordination. So you have to just let that go.
Yes, and also because we're not on our feet, coordination doesn't matter as much.
Right, because then you're not at risk for falling.
In a particular direction. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's freedom there to explore in a different way. And so, there's trainings where you can go and take just the seminar, which is through 4 hours, where you learn how to take the tools for personal practice. You can also go through the training and become a certified educator, and then you can share it with others. And there's, for instance, here we have a big group of people in Worcester that have it at different retirement facilities. I'm going to be going up to Hanover, New Hampshire, and training a whole bunch of New Hampshire practitioners. And so this is lovely to have in any retirement community, but it's also great preventative for all of us.
Even kids, you said.
Yes.
And their neurons are firing all the time anyways. So this is just an added bonus.
It's an added bonus.
And keeps them more physically fit too.
More physically fit. And I think it keeps them more focused. Because, see, you had the experience, even though we didn't do many things. Didn't you feel like you had to stay focused?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I had to keep my mind not from wandering, and my mind tends to do that just because I'm a busy person, and I'm like, okay, I'm always moving on to the next thing in my mind. So, yes, I totally am like, I don't want to look like a fool. I got to make sure I got the right arm, the left arm.
Well, look, minds wander. Minds are made to wander. And I
but
think
this just kind of trains it.
We train it to say, hey, no, you're going to come with me, and we're going to do these different things together.
I love that. This has been really eye-opening, and what a wonderful thing that Denise has developed. And
yeah, it's incredible.
Now, so if I were to take, because I'm interested in taking a class, so if I were to take a class, is it like a one-shot deal that you just take the class and learn and do the tools on your own, or do you go to this group on a regular basis?
The way that we imagine classes is that classes are more of coaching sessions and places to come and get ideas for our own personal practice. Okay. Ideally, not everybody does this. We have 10 minutes that we set aside every day where we do 3 of the tools. So you could, if you had the cards, you could say, I'm going to pick this one and this one and that one. And then you make sure that you put these away And so the next day you pick 3 different ones.
Okay, and you spend 10 minutes a day on doing this every day. And then then the classes, do most people attend 1, 2, 3 a week? Or?
It depends on where they are. So in some retirement communities, they'll have them every day. And instead of people doing their 10 minutes, they'll just go to a class.
Okay.
I used to have one in West Concord where people would come once a week.
Okay.
And so, so like I said, I think that the classes are important. Mm-hmm. And just as important is taking the spirit of play out with us. Mm-hmm. Because playing...
We should be doing that till our final days.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? It was such a pleasure to have you and to learn more about Ageless Grace. I wish we had more time because I could really become coordinated by the end of the session, but I'm totally going to call you. And so your studio, you're going to be moving, so...
Yeah, I'm going to be moving my classes over to On Your Toes, which is right down the street in Acton.
Okay.
So I won't have specific locations for Ageless Grace, but like I said, I'm teaching all over the place. I'm doing presentations at memory cafes.
All right. So the best way to reach you is to go on your website?
To go on my website.
So, and what is that?
It's www.starfishdanceyoga.com.
Okay, and we'll have that as well on the show. So thank you again. It was so much fun playing with you today.
I know. Thank you.
And viewers, thank you for tuning in again. I look forward to having you back next month. We're going to be, my guest is a good friend and colleague, Tammy Pozaricki, and we're going to be talking about dementia, delirium, depression, Alzheimer's disease. So tune back in. But until then, to remember to live your best life every day starting today. This is Scherrie Keating. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.